call the meeting to order. Meeting of the Beaufort County Board of Education Academics Committee meeting, March 25th, 2025 at 4 p.m. We are located in the District Educational Services Center, Conference Room E, remote hybrid conferencing meeting. This meeting will be broadcast by the county channel. To speak during academic committee public comments, please sign up using the public comment form. You can find the BOE public comment form on our website. Okay. All right, you will receive a phone call during public comments where you will be able to speak and address the committee for a maximum of 3 minutes on issues within the committee's domain. The phone will be limited to 15 minutes. Citizens desiring to participate in person must fill out a public comment card that can be obtained from the Broad Creek upon arrival. The Board Kirk, I don't know where I got that from. Okay. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we have approval of agendas. Motion, I'll second it.
You want the door shut?
Approve the agenda.
I second it. Public comments?
All in favor is 2 of you?
This is aye.
Aye.
Okay,
No public comments.
no public comments. Okay, approval of February 25th, 2025 committee meeting minutes.
I move we approve the minutes.
I second it.
All those in favor?
All right, artificial intelligence.
That is just so wrong. Sure. And I have the great pleasure of actually bringing a dynamic team to the table. We have a few items on the agenda this evening. One is artificial intelligence that we have a presentation put together. Joining us is Colleen Dekavarshi, our Director of Educational Technology. She's to your left. Gilbert, our Director for Career Technical Education. Hello. Melissa Murray, our Director for Literacy, K through 12 for everything, and Executive Director for Teaching and Learning for Mathematics and Science, Dr. Dixon. They're going to be part of the AI presentation. Now we have other members I'll introduce you later on. The reason for this presentation is to give an understanding of some of what we use as a system, be a prelude to what maybe some of you are already reading the release from the state from South Carolina has actually released some information for computer science and AI pathway, where Ms. Gilbert's going to go through that in detail, and also how we have this integrated already in our educational tools. So with that, I'm going to turn the floor over to, I believe, Colleen first.
Thank you all for having me. Colleen Beckham-Marsky, the Director of Educational Technology. And what we have, starting off with artificial intelligence, I'm going to kick us off and tell you sort of where we've been and what we've been doing over the past couple of years to get us to the point where we are today. So one of the things that we know with artificial intelligence, but really any emerging technology, is usually those start in the consumer-based world or the business-based world. And then we have to sort of adapt them into how do we bring them into education and how do we make sure that it's appropriate and that it's, aligned with our curriculum and all of the different components of it. And AI is no different. So that's really where it started, was sort of in this business world and then this consumer boom in 2022. And then we've been working since then to sort of bring it into the K-12 world. So in 2022, we formed a little internal group, mostly consisting of some of the folks here and some in IT, just get an idea of what questions do we have, what hurdles do we need to think through, what obstacles are we know we're going to face, and what do we do with the ones we don't know that we're going to face yet. And from that, we were able to update our acceptable use policy so that staff members, students, all users in our network understood some of the ramifications of putting personal identifiable information into these types of systems or health information into these types of systems, just as a layer for us to make sure we were protecting data for students, staff, and anything that comes through. And then we developed a position statement, which is posted on our website, just so we had sort of a public view of, we know it's important, we know that it's not going away. We want to acknowledge and embrace it, but that it doesn't replace teachers or good teaching. It has to align with standards and learning objectives, that we need to make sure it's being ethically used and accurately used. The data security piece is a huge component of what we need to navigate, and it changes so fast. Training for our staff and for our students so that they understand what it is, and not just the shiny new thing. And then, of course, ongoing evaluation, because it changes by the minute. I could go on there and see a new update about AI any moment of any day because it's changing so fast. So we put out that position statement, and it really triggered a lot of teacher interest already. What do? We want to use this. Can we do that? I'm worried about this. And so we took a lot from our teachers. Most of it starting with our ELA teachers who had some concerns around plagiarism or using it for cheating or these types of things. So we wanted to implement something to empower them from the beginning, where Turnitin came in, and Melissa's going to touch on that a little bit, so I won't steal her thunder. But that was our first step. We wanted to make them feel comfortable with, working in the classroom with kids and understanding that they have some tools at their disposal to use for that. And then interest kept growing, of course, as we saw AI growing even more in the consumer world again. So in the most recent, this fall, we purchased Magic School AI. And Magic School AI is the leader for AI programming in a K-12 world. So it really takes this huge AI universe and kind of brings it into that K-12 world for us. So we purchased that in the fall, and this school year has really been primarily about training our teachers on not just the system, but understanding AI, really understanding what it's doing, what components it is, so that they can start to recognize it and see and navigate it in their own end user mind, right? Because we can't be the day holding their hands. So they have to have some of that critical knowledge to make their own judgment calls when things are coming through. So we've invested a lot of time into that system. We were able to secure a data sharing agreement with that company. And what that does for us is just gives us an added layer of protection. So every program has terms of use or privacy policies, and we all accept them all the time. But Beaufort County, we've worked over the past couple of years to develop our own. So even though these companies might have theirs, we want to make sure that you're still following what we want. And it's just another way for us to supersede what they're doing and put some added protection on minors' information. So we were able to secure that with that companies, which is why we've dove a lot into their investment. And we did a top-down approach for training from senior leadership, principals, APs, coaches, all the way down to, we had an SRO in our training last week. So we've tried to get as many people as we can in there. We have visited 29 of the 31 schools so far. The other 2 are scheduled, they're coming. But the snow days and stuff kind of pushed us around a little bit. But the goal is to have everyone have held training this school year to do that. So we'll continue that, of course, as things adjust and things change. We know we already have a lot of vendors at our disposal that we use in content areas that are implementing AI. So moving forward, we need to stay current on what they're doing with it, what their plan is with it. Is it still supporting the instruction as it needs to? And really to make sure that in ed tech world that we're providing that protection, that access, and that support to curriculum. And that's really where this team comes into play. So I'll pass it on to Karen. Oh, I did have an image up there, which is pretty neat. This was from training last week. It's a little small right there, but you have a printout of it. But it was teachers put exactly what they did in a 1-hour training and what they were able to accomplish in 1 hour of that training, which was really really cool. I mean, from PE teachers to the SRO to we had a school nurse in there doing things. So it was really eye-opening to see that they were getting a lot out of even just the very bare basics to get us started. So Karen, you wanna pick it up?
Sure. And just want to, it's so nice to meet you, Ms. Fraser and Mr. Carr. As board members, I want to thank you for your service. I think we're very fortunate to have a board that supports not only what we're currently doing, but always looking to the future. And shout out to Dr. Stratus for putting AI in the forefront. I did participate in her training as well, and it's excellent because I was not familiar with Magic School. And so I really like that Ms. Beckenbarsky and her team are putting together the structure and the infrastructure in place. My part for this presentation is just to share the why behind it a little bit. In Career and Tech Ed, at another time, you'll get to hear about some of the things we do. It's basically centered around state-approved career pathways, anything from trades and industrial, welding to technical, engineering, automotive, healthcare. We cover 32 pathways for our students that have options, and starts at the middle grades and moves on up to graduate. So at some other time, I'd love to share with you what's going on there. But specific to AI, why do we even worry with this other than or not worry, but address this in public education? So I found this interesting, a few things on how is AI impacting what our students are going to come across in the world of work? So, for example, healthcare. They're already using AI to analyze patient records, medical imaging, discovering new therapies. They're using AI to do early detection of diseases, which I think is very interesting, being able to pinpoint any genetic disorders that they might have. Marketing is very interested in digital marketing in particular. They're using AI to envision images and videos and things that we purchase at the stores to get a profile. So I dread that because we have a Labrador Retriever. We spend more of our money on that than our own budget. But they're using AI to facilitate or work with companies on targeting specific customers to make it more individualized as to how do you market, which then saves time and money on that. Construction, which is near and dear to my heart, they're even using AI now for several areas in construction, how they plan, execute, and manage construction projects. They're using that along with virtual reality so that if they're at a job site, they can use that to make sure that their workers are using protective eyewear and gear, and then they will do analytics to determine if they're going to have any safety issues, and they provide that. If they're doing any kind of site selections, they're using AI to determine would there be any issues if they were going to build on that piece of property. And agriculture, growing up on a farm and been around farming. They're using AI now with driverless tractors, smart irrigation. Let's see what else. Oh, crop management. And then I didn't even think about this, but just like in healthcare for AI with the human body, they're using AI with livestock now to determine, what's healthy for them, prevent diseases, and so on. So it's just when you start researching this, it's just amazing. So again, shout out to our district and our IT department, because we can't just kick the can down the road for this. So currently in Career and Tech Ed at our middle grades, we have some exploratory courses around computer science. That is a K-12 a mandate for the state of South Carolina that we introduced that K-12 throughout. So they're doing a program called Path that our students can explore careers. So they are integrating, that company is integrating what is AI. So it's more of an awareness level exploration. There's another program that we use called, I say program, it's a curriculum provider called Project Lead the Way, nationally recognized. And there's a course called Computer Science Innovators and Makers. And they are starting to incorporate a little unit on, again, just teaching the kids to how is coding important to the careers of AI. Then when you move into high school, currently we are working on, we have, I believe it's 14 teachers across our district who teach computer science related courses that the students can count as their graduation requirement. And so the two main state approved vendors that we use is code.org and CodeHS. Ms. Beckham Parsley and her team, they review it each year as well. And they are now integrating some simulated AI scenarios so that as our teachers are teaching web page design, fundamentals of computing, computer science principles, they're now exposing kids to what is AI and how it's being utilized. What's going to change that I'm excited about, and it's in your PowerPoint, the state of South Carolina, under our Governor McMaster's, he wants the state of South Carolina to be a hub for all things cyber and to include artificial intelligence. So he has been very supportive of the Department of Ed as to what are we doing to put in place on the teaching side to introduce students to cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. So they are piloting a new career pathway. They've been in the making with this for 2 years now. They've involved a lot of different stakeholders to help to develop this. And so starting next year, they'll open it up for pilot sites, up to 30 across the state. And we hope to be one of them. We're applying for that. And basically, it'll be 4 courses over this next 2 to 3 year period. It'll start off with just the exploration of it. Then it'll get into some applications. They'll look at data analytics. The students will study how to code and plan around AI. They'll also look at the ethics of it and the legalities of it. But I like the way they're going to structure it under career and tech ed. I know that's a little hard to read, but each course, they're going to expose the students on how they use AI in construction, healthcare, entertainment, agriculture, and they'll have to do some hands-on applications within a simulated environment. I know Ms. Beckham Varsity, her team, they're always great to work with us on any of our career and tech ed IT programs so that it's within a safe simulated environment for our students and that we're not mucking around with the network. The goal is by the time the students finish that 4th or the 3rd course, when they enter into their what's called a capstone, they're going to partner with a business. They'll do an AI live project with that business, and then they'll have an opportunity to sit for an industry certification. So we're excited about this. I think if we get accepted for next school year, just as a small pilot, then we will look at expanding that to other high schools that are interested in it. So we'll keep you in the loop on that. But I do think it's going to be a great way, again, just to channel in the right way what advancing technologies is doing that our graduates are going to be up against using once they move into their field of choice. And having said that, I turn it over to my colleagues on so important with the literacy and the math component of that.
Next, one question.
Yes, ma'am.
If you do want to pilot it, what high school are you going to have it operating in?
Yes, ma'am. I'll be able to get that information too. We have put it out to a few schools. We always try to do like one in the northern part of the county, one in the southern part. And again, and just collaborate with Ms. Beckham Varsity, want to keep it manageable for next year. And the state already said that they want to try to do 30 different sites. So if we get one high school for next year as the pilot, as part of the 30 sites, and then obviously it'll be open up 26, 27 to everyone. But I'll let you know as soon as they confirm. I'm glad you brought that up because there will be teacher training that'll be involved. But again, if we get selected for the site, they will provide the training at the state level at no cost to us. Great question. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Melissa Murray, Director of Literacy. It's my pleasure to share a little bit about things we are doing in the literacy department using some of the AI that Ms. Beckham Varsky spoke about in the beginning. So for Magic School, our team participated in the training that was provided. So not only on how to use Magic School, but around the ethics of using AI that she spoke about. So it was this really nice comprehensive training to ensure that we knew how to use the program, but also how to use it properly. And so after that, the literacy team has been using Magic School to do a variety of things. One of them is to develop questions using all of our South Carolina Department of Ed support documents. So our 2024 standards, the assessment boundaries. So what an amazing thing that we were able to take all of these documents, share it with Magic School, give them the proper parameters. We're looking for a 6th grade reading level text. It must say this. It has to have this many things. And then it gives you a response, and we kept working through it. The next slide is a sample, but I'll get to that in a second. We also use, the next bullet is about writing. So we have 2 things that we use to support our teachers. Turn It In is actually a program that allows teachers to see if writing that is being submitted to them has used AI to develop it. So teachers and students can use it to upload, to get feedback on how much of that is student writing, how much of it has been taken from a website, and how much of it possibly was used and generated by one of those many AI sources that we now have. And so, but that is where we are. Those things are available to us and the students. So this is a tool that's going to help them and us navigate. So how do you revise? How do you make the writing yours? How do you take what you're using? And so Turn It In is something that just really supports our teachers and students in the transition of this, new options for writing that is available online. Along with that is No Red Ink. So No Red Ink is a digital tool that supports students as they are writing. So it uses a form of AI in that it breaks apart writing prompts. It shows them next steps. It will give them feedback on the writing as they're filling it in their little boxes. And so that's another kind of AI that's supporting them as writers in real time and then pulling in feedback. It also has a tool that allows the teacher in the end to know how much of it, or if some of it was used and generated, but it doesn't quite have the robust offerings that Turn It In has at this time. So at this time, you kind of need both. They overlap slightly, but they support writing in different ways. And as educators are actually folks that just write, how complicated this is. So writing supports is really important. We also wanted to touch on one of our tools, iReady. So we use that in our elementary schools. And that is another form of AI, as in it is computer adapted to a couple things. One, the students take a diagnostic, and then the computer in the back end uses that AI to determine a pathway for the student. And inside of that pathway, it also gives a hierarchy to where the children need to start. And then it uses that intelligence throughout. So as the children get started on their pathway and they're on the computer doing different lessons that was determined based on the initial assessment, the iReady intelligence on the back end is able to change their path, decide if they have mastered something, open up another pathway. It also does a great thing for teachers where it lets us know if a child is struggling with a certain pathway or a certain concept. And so that is an automatic report that the teachers receive. And then it actually closes down that pathway for students. So, because as Colleen spoke to, nothing replaces teachers. So the teacher then gets to intervene and gets to conference and gets to support the children in that iReady pathway. So those are just some examples of how this is embedded in our literacy program throughout the district. And what you heard from ranges all the way from kindergarten up to 12th grade. So some of these are available for a variety of students. The next slide shows you an example of something my team put together using Magic School. And so you'll see to the left, here is your indicator. It also gives you some indication of what the assessment boundary that the State Department said would have. And then to the right is a sample test question that we generated using Magic School. And so we created documents for every single standard that is going to be tested for 3rd through English 2, has shared this with teachers and the literacy coaches to share with others, for that idea that children need to practice how to answer a multiple choice question based on the standard. Our standards directly, our assessment uses the language of our standards. We have brand new standards that are very specific. And so it was a really nice tool to have, to be able to help support our teachers. And you can see, like, it even tells you why answer A is the answer. So the intent of this is for teachers to model how to answer these types of questions, based on the standards. And I brought some samples if anybody wants to take a look.
Dr. D.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Mona Lisa Dixon, Executive Director of Curriculum and Instruction, with the heavy focus for the district, K-12 or pre-K, little people, K through 12 for math and science. And as my colleagues have already said about AI and what our teachers can use, I was with one of our coaches, Miss Jessie Meeks at St. Helena, and she was working with a Magic School, and they were developing choice boards aligned to the standards. So the teachers, they can create this. To me, helps teachers to be more effective and efficient around the standard, and to be like Colleen always tells us, 80% may be AI, but the 20% has to be the human touch. That we really have to look at what AI has given us or what has created. It is for us to filter and go through it. We also, with the standards, we can develop, because if our curriculum doesn't have it, we can develop spiral reviews based on our standards or topics that some of our teachers have utilized Magic School for. In additional, instead of buying, and because we know money is scarce at times, instead of buying those SAT books or giving it from from parents, we can generate SAT exams per student, mock exams for students to give them through Magic School that will help them and also help build their capacity within the SATs and even ACT that we can do as well. Yes, sir. One thing that we're doing is using AI powered analytics, Kate solutions. I'll come back to that one because we do demonstration for you, but guiding, as Melissa said about for Ready Math, guiding personalized learning. We look at that where they do take the diagnostic, as she has stated, for math, and they really then look at how well they are doing. We can do it not only by content or by concept, but by strand. And that will give the teacher information on which strand that child is doing well on or which one is not. One of the things that we have done with that by the strand and by their pathways is that we can shut down a pathway or a strand for the students if we want them to focus more on that, or if we see that our students have not done well on that, we can shut it down, and that AI will develop a pathway for them within that strand, and we can target, so we can be more intentional with the instruction, and that the instruction for our students across all the content areas. If you go to the next one, Miss, and push the click on the picture.
PDF and on PowerPoint.
It was supposed to work with the PDF. Yes, it should. It's supposed to work in the PDF because we made sure that it worked in the PDF, that we clicked the link.
Or when it was uploaded into community, if that,
Let me see if
that could have been one with the system.
There's a click without it, not in here either.
No, she's not buffering.
Sorry.
It's okay. Can you speak a little bit on the Kate and fix it?
No, I wanted the video to play first so that they could see it, and then we could speak on it and go from there. That's why we sat up there and made sure that the link would work. But you know what? Where there's a will, there's a way.
Do you have the URL on that or not? That we could drop it in? No.
I don't have my. Do you have was she sent the PowerPoint?
I'll send a PDF.
Email?
Just send the PDF.
And Karen is.
Can we
From
get?
their website, is it from their website?
Commissioner. You'll have it momentarily. Is it on the Kate site?
That's what I was looking at.
Send it to you, Ms. Hook, so let me get it.
You're pulling it up?
Yeah.
Murphy does travel.
We'll get it.
That's the beauty of Murphy.
See.
I'm glad your phone's working because mine is in the Fortress of Solitude.
Oh, right here. Ms. Christopher, I'm gonna send this to you that has both the PDF and the,
I have the PDF.
But it,
here we go. I've got both for you.
Thank you. Karen.
Cushionberry. Ha. All right. See how quick email it is then. Good old email.
Hello.
Spot.
come in.
Thanks.
Wow, Karen. All right.
We need the PowerPoint.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Mhm.
it'll give you the live link. Committee members, I do apologize.
Some problems.
Right.
This is.
Technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, you put it like you're presenting and then it'll
Oh,
be bigger.
let's see, slide.
Yeah,
It was going.
go back. Go back to your slide. No, she'd better off to do. Thank you, Colleen.
They have, where'd I go?
Go in here.
Yes.
And then go to slide.
Slideshow.
Yeah, from slide.
Okay.
Now, does it have
The volume now.
volume? Need to change something in the setting here, Zoom setting.
So the pilot schools, as you see the
Hold on.
pen, are actually, we actually have pilot schools. So as the student is working out the equation,
She's doing it right there.
she's going, right, the teacher is
Yes.
able to see, correct, or identify some errors in the logic of your thinking. That's the whole essence behind this, so. Zoom, especially for algebra 1.
It might be in your Zoom settings, but I would.
Yeah. That is fine. What we can do is send you the URL, board members, for you to take a look, in order to see the video as well as the website.
We'll try.
Hello everyone, this is the Kate Smart Pen. It allows teachers to glean very helpful information about students' knowledge based upon their assessment data. The diagnostic session is approximately 40 minutes long, and the Kate Smart Pen works on regular paper and records about 75 times per second using a camera, memory chip, and a real-time clock. This helps us document very precise time data, writing speeds, pauses, mistakes, strokes, and so much more. Teachers benefit from real-time insights into student performance, enabling precise, data-driven instruction and improved teaching and learning opportunities for students. Thank you so much for viewing this video to learn more about Kate.
So as the video, as you can see, Kate
Everyone, this is the Kate Smart Pen.
stands for Knowledge AI Technology, and its unique hybrid platform that combines traditional pen and paper methods with cutting-edge artificial intelligence. This tool enhances our ability to assess students, understanding personalized learning, and support our teachers in delivering more effective instruction. So if we're looking at it, like the video said, that this, they will sit up here, the pen captures the time that is taken for each question. It also, all written work, including calculations, their thought process. So this is a way for teachers to almost be inside the student's little brain, that you can see how they are processing the problem. What steps are they taking to go through the next problem? Any mistakes that they're making. So this comprehensive data collection gives the AI a much deeper insight. Unlike iReady looks at what has been right or wrong, whereas this looks at the time, it looks at how long it takes a student to take it, the diagnostic, what they're doing within there, and it analyzes all of that, going well beyond simple right or wrong answers. In fact, according to the company, the approach improves AI predictability by an impressive 28%. One of Kate's most powerful AI features and that it collects ability data. The AI can determine a student's strengths or weaknesses on a particular standard. Even if they got the associate question wrong, the nuance understanding is crucial for effective personalized instruction. So what we are doing is we're piloting this we were going to do it with 3 schools, an elementary, a middle, and a high. Then we looked at the pen and the technology team before we did anything and rolling this out. We had to bring the pens into our technology team. Rob Confair, Mark McGraw, Colleen, Esty, myself sat down and they went through and did a test with it. And the first thing Rod said was, will this pen break? How is this da-da-da? Will this da-da-da-da? And so we started asking questions about it and everything, looking at how the router and all of that. The significant piece that we like about it is that it eliminates marking time while improving marking quality. So that means that the teachers, instead of spending time doing it, already does that for them. Then they can know what are the next instructional steps that we need to take to have that child get to close those gaps even faster for the kids. So it is at 2 schools right now. We're at Battery Creek High School and at Ladies Island Middle School. The middle school, they are having fun with it. We're also even building like a boot camp for the kids with it, with the pen, the AI, the algebra one, so that they take the diagnostic and that AI really does look at where that child is and what training, they don't call them lessons, what trainings the kids will need to take so that they can build their capacity and close those gaps of the learning and have better student outcomes for them on the EOC and also on SC Ready.
And then just in summary, about the balances versus the challenges. So I think, if we talk to our other folks at other school districts, I think we're ahead of the game in that there is some policies, procedures that's being in place. They are looking at how our data is being secured. I think that's a good thing. But I think we can all agree that artificial intelligence is not going away. And the fact that we're already trying to dip our toes in the water with helping some of our students, not only with the teaching and learning aspect, but also with this new pathway, actually having students to learn how to utilize AI in a future career that they have. So we'll open it up. Dr. Strauss, any questions that you may have?
Well, if I could just also build, the state is actually now has identified curricular personnel to just work on computational science sciences and what they call the integrating into content areas.
Mm-hmm.
I highly recommend that type of consideration for all school systems, right? That we start looking on how do we bring computer science into our content areas, not just as a practice of isolation, right? If we are looking at building South Carolina as the state for cybersecurity, the state of developing and understanding of technological practice, it needs to be embedded. So we started with our cybersecurity grant some years ago, a DODEA grant a few years ago, looking at where we're going as a system. What I see coming in us is if our capacity is not built, is the integration of someone else who has that computer science background, working with the content specialists as well as we develop lessons and learning for our children. So I just think that's something for us to think about as a system. And any other questions or comments on AI?
And see, I told you that video was worth the wait. Thank you, Colleen.
So are the students getting better with the Algebra 1 using the Kate?
Well, we won't know that until the end, but we can see where we do have some, what the teacher is seeing. And that, we have been with them through the first implementation. And what they are seeing is that the kids with the writing, that they can show if a kid did something wrong up there, they can all talk about it and have student discourse with it. So it's in the finite or the infinite, I would say infinity. It's infancy, yeah. As a little baby toddler, we're taking that little steps on that part of it. But what the teacher will say is that the kids with it, they are engaged. And engagement. So you want to look at increasing that engagement. You increase that engagement, as you know, increase that engagement, you're going to increase that part of learning, that learning within in the outcomes for the students.
And you decided not to do elementary.
We were going to do an elementary, and we were going to do an elementary, and then we said, don't know about that. And then Dr. Strettle said, well, you're not going to do elementary, you got to find another school. I was like, yeah, I'll do one maybe starting in, August, we'll start with that. But if anything, we'll look at another middle school or even a middle school and a high school. And the Ladies Island Middle School teachers, they have really rolled with it. And then they will tell me, okay, we need this better. We need to do this better. Oh, okay. So to me, it's great for us to take it as a small sample to get the feedback from the teachers and everything. They said they're the one teacher, Miss Britt at LIMS, what she has done is, even because every time a child takes an assessment on the Kate pen, it adjusts their pathway or it adjusts their training right then and there. So it gives them real-time feedback on it. So she likes to create hers and then upload it into the router and then print out the little mini questions or for the kids so that they take a pre-assessment, and then she'll do a post-assessment to see how well they've grown. So yes.
Are we seeing, I know it's early, are we seeing maybe areas where kids may be struggling?
Mm-hmm. We are. And especially at the high school, if they can't, the first diagnostic that we gave, a lot of them did not have the foundational.
Okay.
The foundational standards mastered. So
we foundation here.
We were seeing. So then that way the teacher can say, if the kid does not have the foundational standards, then I can scaffold the learning. I don't have to wait on that part of it. To me, that's efficiency that we have on that part of it. So that when planning with that part of it, if I already know that the kid is suffering, then I know how I can scaffold that standard, meet the child where they are, and push them forward.
And another layer to put on that, Dr. Carr, is that opportunity of bringing those areas of growth, because I don't want to call them errors, but areas of growth. Yep. To the professional learning community. Mm-hmm. So we can go back and look at our practice. What are we missing in the classroom by looking at that student evidence and looking at these areas of growth and redirecting my planning, deepening my practice and efficacy as the educator, right? So that's another component of bringing the AI, building off what student may not be getting on the point, but now you're helping me get on the point as the educator.
To be able to take those
Right.
next instructional
Yes.
strategies to know which ones I need to take with particular.
So,
That's-
so we have to get, everybody's involved. Everybody's in the.
Yes, that is the
Yeah.
next page, right? And it gives an opportunity to also see, there's a significance for this, right? Let's look at these areas collectively. And now do we look at improvement with intervention and giving the students that opportunity back to the foundational skills that they're missing? Because how you're gonna further and higher levels of math,
Right.
or not?
I get it. Kind of go back a ways.
Elizabeth is online as well.
Mhm.
Elizabeth Day is online as well.
Thank you. So Madam Chair, may we go to the next item on agenda?
Yes, ma'am. Math textbook adoption.
With that, I'm going to turn the floor back to, as we pull up the presentation, you should have an executive summary. No? Okay, do you have the presentation?
You have the presentation.
And I'll save the executive summary for board meeting.
No, we do have this.
You should, all right, thank you, because I looked, it was
Summer school.
at summer school. I actually have one. So this will be updated. I'll have the date updated for you for the, yes, ma'am, thank you. Have a safe drive home. You should have a presentation on the textbook. Thank you, Robin.
After this,
That's the executive summary.
Ms. Cushionberry, will you click, yes, will the presentation open? Yeah, you go. Thank you, ma'am. Immediate gratification isn't enough in technology. My error.
Answer this Alfonso's call. See if he's trying to get in or something. Hello? Good you? Thought you were trying to get in. No, but I'll call you afterwards. Okay, all right.
we're fine as well now.
Okay.
I'm just seeing a presentation. See, yeah, okay. However you want.
Okay, this year was the year that math had to do that ELA went through last year. So I was very happy to have my colleague here, Melissa Murray, help guide me through this. This was like my first ever time. So I really want to give shout out to Melissa Murray and her team for assisting. So this year, in 10 years, was the first year that we're going to really go back and adopt textbooks since 2015. So they're coming up also with new standards. Standards have been shifted. Some standards have gone from 7th grade to 6th grade. But the big year for us is going to be our K1 because some new standards and some new changes for K1 is coming down the pipe. So we have the overview there. The 24-25 school year is the bridge of the 2025 standards and the adoption of math K-12 textbook. The 2025 school year will see a full implementation of the 2025 standards and newly adopted textbooks. Through this, for the professional learnings that we did, adopting the textbooks focused on teaching and learning our standards. These meetings are designed to share the shifts in the standards from 2015 to 2025, which include gaps within the standards. All schools will have 2 teachers participating in upcoming trainings. We had an implementation team of coordinators, numeracy coaches, teachers, and administrators participated in 2 state training courses. Over 150 educators participated in the district or state level professional learning. Schools will also lead this professional learning using a district-wide trainer model. So the district professional learning was designed and attended by all schools to focus on the standards and select the textbooks, the best materials. We've gone through and had the rubric, everyone for the high quality HQIM, high quality instructional materials. We conducted Zoom presentations for all vendors. Sharon McMahon, our elementary coordinator, Felipe, Andre Silva, assisted in this process with the math textbooks, as well as Dr. Bullock, who is the elementary teacher and learning director. We met with all of the vendors once all the textbooks and everything from the State Department was viewed or adopted. They sent out a listing. They sent out 2 listings, because the first list they sent out, there were some people, we were like, wait a minute, is this all the vendors you're going to give us? And then they went back and they gave us another list. So what we did was to make sure that all of our teachers had access to the materials, make sure all of them had the materials sent to their schools. All the vendors sent that, but we also did Zooms. So the Zooms took place February 3rd through February 13th. We did 30-minute Zooms. We recorded the Zooms so that if a teacher could not be there, we created a Google Drive with those presentations, with the link of all of those Zooms for them to go over with their teachers. Coaches, we knew throughout. Beaufort Schools reviewed the vendors through PLCs and brought questions to the SC State Department Caravan, which Beaufort hosted all schools. And we also had other counties come, Jasper, Hampton, Estill, even Berkeley, to come in and on that day on February 21st to come together for a final look at the 2025 standards and plan for textbook presentations. One of the things I asked the coaches at every school to do was to go through, before they came to the textbook caravan, was to go through and really with the rubric, really go through what are some pros and cons for each of the vendors. So when they came on that 21st, they could ask specific questions, because learning from Melissa, the vendors will tell you one thing and then we will get something else, and we did not want that for our district.
Prior experience.
Yes, ma'am. We had over 150 educators attend and take information back to their colleagues. And on February 14th, we requested that all numeracy coaches or department heads meet with their math teachers to conduct, like I said, the pro and con of each vendor. And then on February 27th, each numeracy coach or assistant principal of instruction from elementary, middle, and high school brought their school vote to the district coaching meeting. And the reason why we did that was because in a coach's meeting, when we were going over the process, one of the coaches basically said, look, I'm at a little small school. My vote won't count. So we were like, you know what, you made a great point. So we did almost like an electoral college, but we made sure that it ran smooth and there were no double voting or any of that things. Yes. None of that. With no stocking the ballot boxes or anything like that part of it. So we came together, we voted, we saw where each school voted for, and we looked at it as popular vote, but then we also looked at it as what each school voted for. So basically after that, the middle school coaches requested a revote because, yes, I said, now I understand the middle child syndrome. My middle school coaches, they wanted a revote because they came down to 2 of the vendors, and one which they were like, oh, that's AI with this vendor. Well, that vendor didn't have a diagnostic. Then we had to go back, and they were like, well, if we really tell our middle school teachers this and everybody, so they'll know. And I went, whatever's your pleasure. I cannot tell you what to do, but whatever your pleasure is, we will do. So we created another flow for all of our middle school teachers, interventionists, special education, everyone who touches math, we asked them to vote. So they came back, and we are asking the academic committee. BCS had impressive turnout, which all educators teaching or supporting K-12. So we're asking you, the academic committee, to honor the choices of our teachers. Grades K through 5, they went with curriculum associates. That is iReady. Grades 6 through 8 went with McGraw-Hill. It was close. It was close. But they went with McGraw-Hill. High school was very different. High school is about each course. So they even had me on a Zoom asking me to tell them what to do. And I said, no, I cannot do that. It is your pleasure. So I met with all of the department heads of each high school on a Zoom. And I would like to thank May Rivers department head for holding that Zoom, and where they tried to really get me to push them towards one. And I said, no, what is your pleasure? So what they did an excellent job. They looked at, well, what vendor had Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Geometry, which those 3 courses are, yes, they're the foundation, but they're also, they're like Dr. Straddle said, they're building blocks. Geometry, Algebra 1, and Algebra 2. They did not want a different vendor. They wanted consistency. So we have Savvis for Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Geometry. We have 2 new courses coming in: Reasoning and Mathematics, Application and Modeling, Statistical Modeling, and Calculus. For our AP teachers, they wanted Bedford, Freeman, Worth course for AP Statistics, AP Calculus, and I don't know how pre-calculus, but they wanted National Geographic and Synergy courses for pre-calc. They did not go with SAPS. So if the academic committee vote in support of the textbook adoption and the motion to bring information to the full board.
The motion, the academic committee approves the textbook adoption and recommends sending to the Beaufort County School Board, a school district Board of Education for vote. Grades K through 5 curriculum associates, grades 6 through 8 McGraw-Hill, Savvis courses for Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Geometry, Reasoning and Mathematics, Application and Modeling, Statistical Modeling, and Calculus. Bradford Freeman Worth courses for AP Statistics and AP Calculus, and National Geographic Cengage courses for pre-calculus.
I second the motion. All in favor?
Just the 2 of you.
Aye.
A lot of pressure,
I think it's
a lot of pressure,
so board member.
but I like the process. Thank you.
Thank you. And you can see it within the
That's
presentation
where I was going.
that the timeline of everything that we did. We also, after previewing, reviewing, and comparing, contrasting math materials, where we did all certified, you have a clip there of how they voted. Each school, we created their own Google form for each school to vote. And like I asked the coaches, I did tell them too, that I wanted 100% voting, because I didn't want people to say, I didn't know. So that's why we carefully went through it. But as you can see, that timeline, we started this in September 23rd. With identifying members of an implementation team and the things that we've gone through the entire school year. And it was so funny because we put, when Dr. Stratos came to me and she goes, Dr. Dixon, you have to do, I was like, oh, okay. And the team and I, we put it together and we said, and even Dr. Book, we've done a lot. I'm like, yeah, we and I mean, you just do the work and comes back up to reflect on it. And so, and we call ourselves the extreme team. Yes, because their leader is extreme.
So, board members, just to build, all the votes have been saved
Mhm.
for the teachers, and we recognize that the state legislation puts forward that the decisions can be made by a designee or the superintendent. And even our administrative regulation reads that way. We choose a process of having the teacher's voice. So as they are the ones in front, and they actually did that for all our textbook adoptions from social studies to our ELA to our arts. That is the process that we put forward. When Dr. Dixon shared that we pushed back to the state, the elementary, they only had at one point, and actually it was the middle school, only 2 vendors.
Well, the elementary probably. I
Yeah,
think.
and we took
Yeah.
many districts, not
Mhm.
just Beaufort County, pushed back to the state. It's like, something's not right. There should be more than just 2 to select from. So that's where the state put a pause, and we had to wait until January to add to this process. So it did become tedious at pathway. And when it came down to the 2 areas and the 2 top at the middle school, we would not make a decision. We push back for the input from the school sites one more time. And I do have to share that McGraw Hill may not have a diagnostic tool, but Ready Math does. And we would have the capability of utilizing Ready Math, which is a state, we get repayment from the state for use of that tool. And you recognize we have 3 times a year that we must use diagnostics from grades 3 through 8. And the McGraw Hill will align to give that pathway that these ladies so eloquently shared with you, what happens with the AI. So that capability will exist for the middle grades as it will for the elementary. Okay. And with that, we're going to turn the page to everyone's favorite subject, summer school. Oh, yes. Do we have any questions after the motion?
We asked
We're
for
on
the
to
motion. We asked for the motion.
No,
No questions.
because we don't want to take the pre-calculus class.
No, no. 75 and 5.
Yes, yes. All right. So if we may, we have Karen McKinsey, who many of you are very familiar with, our Director for Secondary Teaching and Learning.
Nice to see y'all again.
And Dr. Bullitt, our Director for Teaching and Learning for Elementary. Ladies?
So we're excited. We're in that time of year right now where we're planning a myriad of extended learning opportunities for our students throughout the county for the summer. Those will be held in the month of June. And I'm going to let my partner start since elementary is first on your sheet. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what elementary summer school is going to look like this year.
So we're excited about elementary summer school. We're going to be in compliance with the Read to Succeed legislation. We're going to be serving 3rd grade students across the district in all of our schools. We're working to design this so that it's based on data and that we're really specific and personalized to what each of those students that comes to us this summer needs. We're also working to make sure that it's a really engaging summer school experience for them and that they both build background knowledge and comprehension skills and that they build their foundational skills.
So I'm going to go over the rest of it. MedTech 7 summer camps this year. We're really excited under Dee Appleby's direction. We have the 7 schools, MedTech 7. So we will have 7 camps this year, and we're really excited about that. And they will be centered around the medical at some of them and at the technical at others. Those camps will be a week long. So those kids will really enjoy that process, I think. And I will say I've seen her getting things together for that camp. It seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to have to sneak over there. CISA, that's near and dear to my heart. That is our camp for our gifted and talented artistic students. We are holding 2 this year. One will be south of the Broad at Bluffton Middle School, and one will be north of the Broad at Ladies Island Middle School. Each year over the last 4 years, we've really grown that camp. So we're hoping this year, last year we were about 150, almost 200. So our goal is to break the 200 this year. So that's our goal. If you have not joined us for the finale on the Friday of that camp, I really encourage you and invite you to do so. Last year, we had theater at both, so it was fun to see the one-act plays. They were hilarious. The music that's done within the week, the artwork, just the creativity across the board. Those camps, those sites are ran really by our teachers. Our teachers to do a proposal and say, this is what I would like to do. And we go through those proposals and pick the best ones for our students and then look forward to those two camps. Secondary summer school, another one of my favorites. We are so fortunate this year. We have 12 of our 14 sites up. So that is wonderful. Last year, as you might remember, we were short of quite a few and we were doubled up kind of tight. Hilton Head Middle School will be hosting Hilton Head High School, which is a nice change because Hilton Head High School has been hosting Hilton Head Middle School for the last 3 years. So I told those two principals, just learn to love one another. You're going to be together for a minute. And the other one is River Ridge Academy. That one's a little bit different. That is a K-8 facility. So in order to benefit our parents the best, what we have worked out, my partner and I, is the elementary students will be located at Bluffton Elementary, and the middle school students will be located across that parking lot at McCracken. So if I'm mom, I don't have to go all over town. I still have a one-stop shop. So we are excited about secondary summer school. We are running a half-day program this year. That will be personalized experience where those kids will come in. If they had a course that they didn't have full proficiency in or didn't master some of the concepts, they will come in. They'll take a very quick pre-assessment so we can tailor that directly to those students. And then they'll work through under the direction of a teacher who's certified in that area to master the content. So we're really excited about those opportunities. Overall, our summer programs are really designed to give our kids extra time with our qualified educators, kind of working towards greater levels of proficiency or extending the things they already know by gifted and talented camps, by med tech camps, by things like that. So we are looking forward to the summer, and I think the kids are too.
If I could share,
Travis?
board members, Ms. McKinsey is being very conservative with regard. First of all, it was Ms. McKinsey at the table for the idea of taking it up to now with H.E. McCracken as a resolution for so many of our other schools being closed during the summer. To me, it was brilliant at the table because she out our facilities, ISD came ahead on that. So I didn't have to pun that. Also to recognize for the third grade through the Read to Succeed Act, this is in lieu of retention. South Carolina puts forward that if a student is not defined as proficient in the area of reading, not yet math, we're keeping a close eye on the Palmetto Math Project that has been piloted in some other counties in the state. There's a requirement of 96 hours of intervention. The portfolio was a way of exiting out of the past. It is no longer. So I want to keep us recognizing that it is now your exit out is based on a school. And the score about 470, 89. How much of an increase is that from last year?
70.
70 points. 70 points. So the lifting for the teachers to have students to exactly, you're picking it up, Dr. Carr, becomes a little heavier weight to bear, as well as for the learner, right? There's a 70-point increase in order to say, Mary, you've met that threshold, you will not be retained. So I do want to bring that to the attention because our schools have been unbelievably successful at working through summer school, 3 retentions maybe, 70-point difference from last year to this year.
That's a
Plus
17% increase.
plus new standards. So we're putting a lot of weight on the educators as well as the children. So, and our teachers are aware of this as they're being recruited and and our principals already know of the test difference. But I think it's important that you know of that as well, of what is the score for exiting. Good cause for students who are language learners still exists. as well as we will have an extended school year for our students of special need who are in a high support, intensive support is the language you will hear. They'll be housed at FC Riley. And our other students who have an IEP are all included into our general summer school all grade level. So I do want to share that as well. All right. So I just didn't want for them not to blow their horn because this has been a little more complex this year, subject to redesigning a budget as well as the 70-point difference. That is significant.
I'm going to make an assumption that the communication with the parents.
Please?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, so we started by looking at the fall diagnostic to see what kids are not meeting that 489 cut score and on our watch list for retention. And so then at the mid-year, when we saw those scores again and we still had those kids, then we sent letters to parents. They actually had a parent-teacher conference. And even if those children have a good cause exemption, we still had a conference with those parents to let them know that your child may have an IEP, but we do want to let you know that right now they're not meeting third grade requirements. And so those children won't be retained, but we will invite them to summer camp to give them the extra bit.
And when we recognize with the difference in score and as well as the amount of multilingual students, how many students are you looking at potentially in third grade?
So our current numbers, if we think about the multilingual students who we know won't be retained, we're at 209 that are really on our watch list now for retention.
Which is about 39, 49 different from last year in time and place. I want to just share those numbers with you as board members as well, because of that 70-point spread was, as Dr. Dixon put forward, the 17% difference.
We know that a lot of those students are missing foundational skills as well. So we did do a 6-week phonics boot camp with iReady, trying to get those kids just those foundational skills. So on that diagnostic, we know that they're going to be better readers if we can get them those skills, right? We're going to do what's right for them. And at the same time, if we can get them those skills in that iReady program, there's a good possibility that they're going to be able to move beyond that foundational piece and get a higher score. So we're looking forward to the spring diagnostic window that will be right before spring break, and seeing what our students score and how that boot camp impacted.
So that'll narrow potentially to 209. Then the students will sit for SC Ready in May.
Which good.
And then that score is a 24-hour turnaround. It will be able to know who is still remaining on that third grade list, which they'll also have the opportunity of one more administration of SC Ready. I'm not correct. I apologize, of iReady to see it right at that right around graduation time for that handful of the students.
Okay.
All right, and we'll keep you posted with regard to how that is as we give you another summer school update.
Yes.
Numbers pretty firm. I mean, it's got to be there.
489.
It
Yeah.
is
Mhm.
legislation. 96 hours.
487 isn't going to get it done.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
They need that 489.
Mhm.
Yeah. With the exception of an ML or a child on an IEP.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Any other questions on summer school board members?
Sure. Oh, yeah, I do have a question in terms of, you said that in terms of IEP, that the students will be going to summer schools. What does that look like? What does that mean? I mean, what does that really looks like in terms of those students going to summer school? What does that mean? Like, what does that encompass?
You want to speak on the
Yeah,
Read to Succeed?
or an extended school year.
Or extended-
Extended school year, I think is your question.
Yeah.
So in students' individualized education plans, they have the option for extended school year.
Right.
Most of our students don't have that, but there are students who will benefit. Those students who need extended school year to meet their IEP goals for the year, their parents have sat down in an IEP meeting with their teachers and administrators and chosen that option, and those are the students will be going to MC Riley for that additional help to meet their IEP goals. Yes, and Beaufort. And Beaufort, no.
No, I heard that part, right? But just to catch you up to speed, I had an IEP, so I understand that what that works. But my question is, when they go there, what's the like? You know, I understand you have goals, but what are they going for? Like what does that look like? I mean, how does that look?
So
Because I mean, are they going to some? Well, go ahead. Let me let you go ahead.
ESY, I think, is a half-day program. And so, of course, it will be individualized to the needs of those students. So those students who need the supports that they have in the regular school year, that extended school year extends their IEP. Typically, IEPs are written for the school year, but that ESY extends their IEP. So that will be an extension of what we're doing. That's essentially in the
So
name.
it's hard
Yeah.
to say, but maybe different for Mary, and it may be for Brandy, or it may be for Melissa, because the school is held to extending the individual education plan of that student.
What the student needs dictates what we offer.
But, and
Mhm.
Mr. Smith knows.
Yeah, why was she answered? But that was my question, and
Yeah.
I'm wondering were y'all sending them in class or but when she said that every student, well, then you answered my question because I know that an IEP specifically says that the student will do this right here, and I've been to those every time I've been to the extended. So
Right.
yeah, and actually we used to go to someone's. We went to someone's house and all. So, in terms of that, I just want to make sure that you're not just putting them in the classes, hey, read these books, and it's going to be actual following. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And there's a school on this side of the broad for kids on this side?
I do apologize, Mr. Smith.
No, there's a school on this side of the
Yes,
broad.
sir.
for kids on this
Beaufort
side.
Elementary will be the site north of the Broad, sir. Yes, sir.
That's it for me. I'm sure. Thank you.
Future topics?
May I make a recommendation from the earlier presentation today? I think it was almost an invitation from Ms. Gilbert, and I know she left, but maybe to do a presentation of the technical education in alignment to the referendum work, so you could see that relationship, because a lot of work has gone in through your CLOG committee board members, and I think that would be a nice presentation if it's up to your consideration, ma'am.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Karen's not in the room. She landed it. Sorry.
Maybe offer.
Yeah, yeah, but that's what I wrote down in my note. I thought it was an excellent opportunity for her to bring folks that alignment to you.
Adjournment?
Next meeting is scheduled.
Nothing. There was another.
It should be April 22nd. Is that still fine?
Maybe not. It may be a conference that I'm attending, but I could have the team come forward and I could have a representative help facilitate if that would be okay with board members.
April 22nd.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're going to keep it at 4 o'clock now?
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Do we also have HAC that day or not?
Also, me was at 4 o'clock. 5 o'clock today?
Start at 4.
I could swear mine said 5.
Zoom says 5, but on your calendar it was 4 o'clock. On the agenda was 4 o'clock.
I have HAC on, and maybe I'm off on where I put it in. There is possibly a great opportunity that she could be off on her calendar.
Okay. HHC should be the 21st on that
Yeah.
Monday.
I will. I'm going to invite Ms. Gilbert at this time, so.
22nd at 4 o'clock. Let me check. Yep.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all. On the 22nd.
You should plant a tree.
Is that good?
Yes, ma'am.
Then with unanimous consent.
With unanimous consent, adjournment?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good evening.